How are you, YouTube, and the people, the good people on YouTube? How's everybody doing? I hope super duper. I'm super excited. I am so excited. You know why I'm so excited? I will tell you why I'm excited right now. Here in a minute, I'm going to tell you why I'm excited. Super duper excited. Um, I'm excited because today is the day. It is the day. Today is the day. I'm really excited um, because, it's just something that's been put off because of bad weather and timing and this and that and the other thing and that other thing. So, no more of that, hopefully. The weather does look iffy, but it's supposed to get sunny around 2 o'clock. I got to double check the weather to make sure that is true because I don't want to cancel again. And really, there's no more canceling this because if we cancel anymore, that's it. This is our last week to do this. This could be our last potential day to do this. It's already cold. It's getting colder, and next week it's supposed to get really cold. Like Monday, weather is projecting that it's supposed to be like 30 degrees. I mean, that's insane. The cold is rushing in. So, no more. This is it. This is the day. This is the day. And no more holding back. No more holding back. This is when we finish it. We only need one more day to finish this thing. One more day to finish this thing. So, and what is that one thing that I'm talking about? The one thing that I'm talking about that needs to be finished today, and this is our last chance to get it. It is. Let me tell you what it is. All right, hold on. Let me tell you what it is. It is our our music video shoot day today. That's why I'm excited. Is this is our last thing we need to shoot. I'm super excited. I've already got most of my things ready. I got to get dressed up for it, and and then we're off to shoot the last bit of this music video. And we've been thinking too how to promote it. We're gonna promote it, and we may even do a version where it's just a short film. So that's kind of interesting. Do the music video, do a video that's just the words and whatnot, and do multiple shorts and whatnot to really push it and promote it. Um, it's a pretty decent song. I think it's gonna take promotion and pushing it to get it out there. But I think once it gets out there, I think people will like it. And the whole thing with YouTube is the more people like something, the more traction something gets. And I've never promoted any of my videos. I've never pushed it. I have one video that's gotten what do we got here? What do we got here? King of Ducklings. How you doing, King of Ducklings? How you doing? Thanks for saying hi. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for the like if that was you. But yeah, super duper excited. Last day of shooting the music video. Yes, I'm excited. I'm good. I'm excited. Like I said, today we have the last day of shooting. We've been working on this for a while. I mean, like a whole month. And we put in a lot of work into this. It's not just a band playing, it's just always boring to me. It's essential to the whole, in my opinion, it is essential to have a band playing eventually, but you know, this approach to storytelling instead of just a band playing is something that I wanted. I accepted the challenge. It was a challenge brought to me. It's my brother's music. Happy to support. Happy, we're supporting each other. It's a really nice dynamic, and it got me back to working with the cameras and stuff. He even got me a gimbal to do this thing. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of opportunities are opening up with that kind of gear that I've been thinking about making more short films, this and that and whatever and the other. So, pretty excited. Today we're going to the lake. I was hoping to get really nice weather to go to the lake, that's okay. I'll accept whatever weather we have. If it's freezing, I will still do the shoot because it's really the last day we get to do this. And so I'm excited. The last thing, so the last bit, and I'll just say what it is. The last bit of what we're shooting is the man in the video. He's tied. He's got this rope tied around him, and he is on this rope. He's got all these objects, 7 objects that almost really line up perfectly in a way. What do you call it? The seven deadly sins. It kind of lines up with that, like really interesting. So sad, so I joined. Bobby, 690. Why, don't be sad, my friend. Don't be sad. I'm talking about a music, the last shot, the last scene we're going to go shoot for the music video. We've been, like I said, I've been working on this forever. Seems like, I mean, a month, over a month, and it's a lot of work went into this, a lot of dedication. It was, I mean, the way we were shooting it, well, I don't make music. It's my brother's music, and he's working on that. I will have to announce whenever he's got a Spotify. He just got a book recently on how to promote your music and whatnot. So yeah, it's one of those things that keeps me going, keeps the creative juices going. It gets me out of my own head, and I'm excited to post the video. Well, I'll probably edit it for the rest of the month, finish November working on this music video, the editing. I'll probably make some post about like how I'm editing it and whatnot. But yeah, I think we're gonna release it in December, at least some variation of it. We might release like trailers first about it to try to get it out there. And the song is actually really good. It's actually a really good produced, written song. It's got my brother's style to it. He's got his unique style. I'm excited for it. I think it'll stand out. I think it'll help his music inclination, his music. It'll help him. I don't know, get some notice with his music. I built 4 Broncos from 1960, 1979, early Bronco. That is amazing. You just blew my mind, my friend. That is amazing that you do that. First of all, the Broncos, especially that time period, are amazing looking. They're classic looking. And the fact that you can do that, man, props to you because I can't do that. So that is, if you're sad, now you have no reason to be sad because that is an amazing skill. And what was the, tell me about the last Bronco you worked on in a few words. I would love to hear about it, my friend. Because that is cool. Bronco, like those Broncos are actually one of my favorite cars, like for reals. It was a rock crawls. Interesting. Ah, yeah. So does it have big? You put big tires on it? I drive an old truck. That's I love driving it. It's kind of lifted a little bit. Nice. That's cool, my friend. That is cool. Very cool. Man, that is, if I can go back in time and learn how to be a mechanic, and I have some skills, like I can change oil. I've actually changed struts with my dad before. Did some things here and there, but I'm not like a somebody who can get in there and just start, take an old car that's been used and beat up. Nice. Yeah, my old man taught me some things. Um, That's great, man. There's nothing better than spending time with your old man and learning, you know, mechanical stuff for your car. My dad taught me the basics. He even taught me how to change brake pads. I can change tires. All the basics. But I don't think I ever spent time actually like taking a car and making it like better than it was. It was always just maintenance work, maintenance thing, kind of things like that. Brake fluid, all kinds of fluid, for the car. Hell yeah, my friend. That is awesome. That is awesome. That's like some GTA stuff. You own a shop. That's awesome. I mean, not that I'm saying that you live a criminal life, but like the fact that you have a shop and that's what I loved about GTA is like you can get cars and you know what I'm saying, collect them and whatnot. Lucky Mortar Sports in El Paso, Texas. Hello, my Texan friend. I'm here in Oklahoma. But there when it comes to football, I think there's some rivalry, but I don't have any issues with Texans. So, hello, my Texan friend. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome that you fix them and restore them. That is an amazing, what do you call it? A talent, a hobby, a business. It's just that's great, man. That's great. I'm an artist. I live the artist life, and as you know, artists have very poor lives until they break out. Really break out. I'm hoping to break out one of these years. That's amazing. He says we've won best Bronco for years with a Bronco called the Orange Crush. Oh, great! That is awesome. I gotta look you guys up if that's okay. Do I have permission to look you guys up and see if I can find pictures? Not that I'm like trying to snoop around or anything, but I want to check it out. That's cool. Um, Talking about orange, I just published a book. It's orange. This is my book. Yeah, I'll check it out. This is my book. I published this year on Amazon. So I'm into the arts. I'm into literature and acting and filmmaking, things like that. I spent my whole life doing that. Pursuing my passion. That always fires me up. I think it's probably the same for you, but for me, when I dive into a project, it fires me up. I get focused. When I finish it, I feel really good about myself, and it's got to feel really good to restore a Bronco. I mean, that is big business. That is big boy business right there. And you've got to feel good, especially winning an award. I won a few awards in my life. It makes me feel accomplished, noticed. It makes my talents feel like they're appreciated. I won some awards in filmmaking and whatnot, and acting. So great. Great. I don't see why, no reason to be sad, my friend. I mean, I'm sure there's reasons, but you're giving me reasons why you shouldn't be sad because that's what you do is incredible. So my hat's off to you. I'm jealous of you because that is pretty awesome. I think me and my brother, we love all kinds of cars. He has a 1969 Bronco. I think it's a 69. He's got not a Bronco. I'm sorry, it's on the tip of my tongue. A Mustang. He's got this beautiful white, old school Mustang. It is superb. It is beautiful. A beautiful car. It's got a nice sound to it. One of these days, we're gonna have to shoot a music video driving that Mustang around because it is truly a beautiful machinery. You know, Pretty amazing what humans can design. And what they can restore. That is truly the power of humanity right there at full display. We take our creativity and just put it out there and create something. And working on cars is an art form. It is art. It is totally art in a different level. Mechanical level. Even detailing it. Making it look nice and all that. It is a skill. It takes a lot of focus and craft and you know so nice to you, my friend, nice to you. I've never met anybody who restores cars. I met the other day a guy who really interesting. He does it's more of a hobby, but he takes it very seriously. He looks for gold. He's one of those guys, and that blew my mind because I was like, people still do that? That's crazy. And yeah, people still do that. Have you ever driven, what is that, a lot of cars? No, what is Lada? You got me there. I don't know if that's a misspelling or have you ever driven Lada? My brain isn't working. Sorry. It is pretty early here. What is it, like 8 something? I'm not sure what a lotta is. LADA. Fill me in, or else I feel like an idiot, which happens every now and then. There's things I don't know. Educate me, sir. Um, but yeah, yeah, excited, excited. We're gonna go to the lake. There's a scene where I was talking about earlier how there's a scene where this guy has me, the main character, has a rope tied around him. Cart. Oh, it's a different person. I thought it was the same person. This is a different person. Hello, Car Kartiki. Did I say that right? Car. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. It's a Russian car, dirt cheap, starting at 6,000. That sounds like a car I would like to drive. I've driven. I've never driven that, but that sounds pretty cool. Is that where you're from, by chance? Are you from Russia? Because if you are, that's pretty cool. You meet so many interesting people. You come across so many interesting people here on YouTube. I actually made a really good friend in India, and I made a really good friend in Australia and Indonesia, even, and so pretty crazy. I've driven in Argentina because I have family there. I haven't driven, but I've driven in. My uncle he restores cars actually, and he restores a specific type of car. I don't know if you guys ever heard of a Citroen. It's a very lightweight car. It's very basic. It's not full of like engine parts and electronics. Very, very simple. The simplest car. You can actually buy all the pieces from a like magazine. You can buy all the pieces of the car and put it all together yourself, and that is pretty awesome if you ask me. It's something if I had the money to do it, that's something I would love to do is order all the pieces of this car, the Citroen, put it all together here in the United States because that car does not exist here. It just does not exist here. They don't fabricate it here. Nobody really makes it. Um, but I love those kinds of cars. I have a love for those types of cars. So I need to look that up. A lot of, huh? I need to look that up. That's gonna be really cool to see. Um, but yeah, I'm mainly a filmmaker guy. I've always been a filmmaker, artist, painter. I paint celebrities. That's a little thing that I do. I paint celebrities. I go meet them, and they sign my art, and they hang in a movie theater, a local movie theater here in town. It's a family run theater. And so they have trouble competing with the big chain. I think some of them are China owned movie theaters. And so what they did was, and I helped with them, is renovate the whole place. There's one room that used to be a theater. It got turned into an axe throwing room. So he makes good business with that. Another room has been turned to escape rooms. Another room, and he does have rooms that are left like theaters. He's got like one, two, at least three, and I know that I can think of. Remember, maybe four rooms that are still. He's got like 8 rooms, and so one room got turned into mini golf, pool soccer. One room got turned into the comedy room where they also have bands play and really cool stuff. I do my film festival there. Um, Last year we did the haunted house there, but this year we did it at a place called Airsoft Tulsa, which is an enormous warehouse. And so we worked on it. I built it up, and it was a pretty cool experience. Technically, yes, I'm unemployed, but I consider myself an entrepreneur. I worked all my youth, all my life. I had all kinds of jobs, and eventually after graduating college, I even had a job in the film industry as a production assistant for 5 years. And one day I was like, you know what? I had enough. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna make money my own way. I taught art classes. The biggest art class I ever taught was 60 people, and that was some good money there. And right now, like I showed you guys, I published my book, so I'm going to be pushing that. Um, I do all sorts of stuff to kind of get my business going. It's the haunted house, it's the film festivals, it's the book, my artwork. And I'm just trying different things, exploring my different avenues of creativity that I'm so passionate about. My soul will not let me get away from doing these kinds of things. My soul begs me to do these things, and I have to listen to my soul. So, you know, money is something that I don't hate money. I don't hate people that are millionaires. I'm not jealous of them, but I one day hope through my art and my passions, my different career paths that are very difficult. I mean, every career path is difficult, but I have to say art can be very difficult. You have to like meet the right people, and it can be difficult sometimes to meet the right people. People to hire you to make paintings, or whatever. For me, the path would be getting grants, right, to get stuff, but I apply for them and I never get them. I never get the grants. And sometimes the people that I apply for grants, what they say, some don't say anything, but typically what they respond is that I'm not diverse enough. And so that really is a thorn in my side, if you will, that just really agitates the heck out of me, because it's no longer about talent, it's no longer about ideas, it's more about you know diversity. Which, okay, great for you. I'm not going to be mad at that. If that's what you want to do, great. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep doing my thing. If I'm not diverse enough in their eyes, then that's their judgment. Because I'm actually a very diverse person. When it comes to, I know multiple languages. I've collaborated with many types of people across the board, creating projects all my life. And for them to call me that I'm not diverse enough just shows me how ignorant they are. Very ignorant people. But that's okay. That's on them, not on me. You know. And again, to just kind of not kind of just keep ranting on this, but I've done a lot of stuff this year to prove I'm a very diverse artist. I've done so many things, from acting on stage to the film festival to the haunted house to the paintings. I was selected at a festival. What my painting was selected to be put up in a museum for a festival here called Mayfest that they do all every year. So I was lucky there. I acted on stage. I think I said that. Published a book. I do, aside from that one painting, I do lots of paintings of celebrities. And I'm shooting a music video this month. So I do a lot of things. Cardi Cardi Key says, I never did job in my entire life. I get few rental properties thanks to my mom. All I do is travel or doom scrolling. That sounds amazing. I know a lot of people like that, actually. You're very, 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 very lucky that your parents were very smart and did things like that to secure your finances. Very smart. My parents actually had a house in Miami that they rented out. It was like the first house they bought in their life, and they paid it off. It was like $300,000, and they would rent it and get rent money. And the rent is really high in Miami. I mean, we're talking like close to 5 grand a month. That's high. But it's a nice house and it's in a nice area in Miami. So they eventually sold it. So no more rental property, which is kind of a bummer. But what they ended up doing is they finished buying this house that they live. I'm in a trailer, but down the ways, the house they bought and paid for is a beautiful house. Maybe one day I will rent it out, and kind of use that. But renting is such a brilliant. I even thought about, when I get around to it, if I have enough money or partners or something, if I put in the time, I would love to buy small houses and renovate them, and rent them out. And hopefully maybe I can do that. But I'm truly, though, I'm getting old. I'm I'm 39 years old. I turned 39 this month, and I'm really thinking about my time. My time and how to spend it. And to be honest, right now, I just have to keep pushing forward with my business ideas. I just got to keep pushing forward with the festival, with the book, with the art, and just keep going forward with that. Uh, Cardicky G says, "That's not amazing. Your parents treat you like shit, especially if they are Asian like mine. Plus, no one respects you. My only thing I did good in my life is marrying my girlfriend." Ah, man, that's a bummer. That's a real bummer, my friend. I don't. That's sad, kind of. I don't like to hear that. But that's tough. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, but well, you know, at least you got your girlfriend, you got your wife. I mean, that's I don't have that, so that's appreciate what you got. Appreciate the little things, even if I've gone through my share of disrespect in my life and this and that, and I don't let that bug me. I just you just realize that life is never going to be fair, and I'm not trying to preach to you because I'm sure you know well enough about your life, but I'm the kind of person that, you could disrespect me, you can do this and do this and do that. It's not going to affect me. It's never going to affect me. I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep finding a way to uh, appease my soul that's like on fire all the time. It's wanting to do so many creative things. I am limited with what I can do, but even in those limits, I still figure it out. I'm not a super rich person. It took me 15 years to create my film called Stray Kids. It's my 17th independent feature film, zero budget, guerrilla style. Stray Kids took me 15 years to make. It's a big one. It's a very ambitious film. And I had nobody helping me. I had a lot of people disrespecting me. I had a lot of people who did help, who did volunteer. I was able to find people, the right people. Overall, about 100 people volunteered on this project. It's a really big one. And I keep telling people on YouTube's that once I reach 1,000 subs, I will release my feature film, Stray Kids, for free to watch for free. And I hope people watch it. I hope people like it. I hope people critique it and let me know what they like about it, what they don't like about it. Jimmy says, Jimmy Shinkoshi said, you should give up and get a job. Well, we're not quitters here. So I'm in too deep. I'm in too deep. You know, I juggle so many things behind the scenes. It takes a lot of effort to create a film festival. It takes a lot, which made me good money. I make good money. Don't get me wrong. I make good money. It's just I I've never been a 9 to 5 kind of guy. Even though I've done it for half my life, I've never done it. It makes my soul sick. And when I do what I do, when I'm an independent person making money, I was a ghostwriter for 4 years, making really good money, and that came to a close. I have to say that it is cool that people can do that. Matt Matt O Chevy says, "Don't listen to Jimmy. He don't know Koshi." Where are you from, Matt? How you doing? Good morning to you. Top of the hat. Yeah, I hear it all the time. He's not the first one to tell me that. I've been called far worse and been told far worse. And all it does is fuel my passion, honestly. Because the things I've done this year, not a lot of people can do. Trust me when I say that. 9 to 5. Yeah. Boo. I mean, for some people it works, For some people it works because they don't have, and it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I wish I didn't have this crazy passion that my soul that's telling me to do all this stuff. I wish I didn't have that so I could go to a 9 to 5 job. I even had 3 jobs before, and I was killing myself for nothing. For nothing. I wasn't happy. It was horrible. You know. So it's all about finding your happiness. It's all about finding how to balance your life. I have a perfectly great life, perfectly balanced. I get to do what I want. I don't feel like a slave to the system. I feel a lot more free, even though I'm not the richest person in the block, even though I can't just go and buy new shoes because I have to be very responsible with my finances. Like, I have to be so responsible because I don't have a lot of it. But even if I had a lot of it, there's one thing I will say. When you don't have a lot of it, it really teaches you how to be really financial, like finicky, and pay attention to your finances, because I know I can't just go out and spend money. Like, ooh, I don't have an addiction to shopping. I don't need that. I don't need to buy myself new clothes to feel better about myself. Me feeling better about myself comes from within. It doesn't come from anyone else's approval. It doesn't come from, what I'm saying? It comes from my inner self. It comes from the accomplishments that I do every month for the whole year, and nobody can say shit, because there's so many people that cannot do what I can do, and I bet a lot of you on here feel the same way. Whether it's you know whether it's one of you guys who renovates cars, I can't do that. You should feel very proud of the fact that you can do that. There's just, whatever you do, you should feel very proud of it. And how you manage life. It's everyone has a different journey, and you're given different cards, and you should play your cards the best you can, right? Your hand. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just playing my hand the best I can. And so all the things I've done is, again, I don't know anyone else that can do what I've done this year. And I'm telling you this in a humble way. I'm not like in a narcissistic or like, what I'm saying? I'm very proud of everything that I accomplished this year. That had nothing to do with money. Had nothing to do with money. It had everything to do with pushing my talents to a new level. And when I've reached those new heights, I've reached those new levels, and it just makes me feel really good about myself. I volunteer a lot. I volunteer a lot. That makes me feel good to help other people without any compensation. I'm always working on things. I'm not lazy. That's one thing I'll say is I'm not lazy. I am not lazy. All the stuff that I do, mm-mm. There's not a lazy bone in me. But I will say I do have my downtime. I gotta have my downtime. But I am not lazy. And truly, the best part about being your own boss, it is your responsibility to make that money for sure. And when you're not hustling to get it, that's on you. But I will say this: being my own boss, making my own schedule, it feels good. It does. I don't feel like a slave to somebody else. I don't feel like, I'm only a slave to myself. And my closest loved ones. But not in a bad way. I like serving others. I do. But when it gets to a point where I'm like, I feel like a slave, that doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work for me. And that might just be a perspective. That might be an attitude that some people may not agree. You do feel a lot of pride in working hard, and getting that money. Cardicky says, "Bro, I'm literally using an iPhone 11 with a cracked back. Rich people don't spend money on not so important shit. I'll be honest, you look more rich than me, dude. I literally look like a homeless junkie." I mean, I don't know what to tell you. This hat is over 20 years old. This shirt is over 10 years old. So I don't know. I mean, have I accomplished things in my life? Yes. Am I rich? I'm not rich. I'm 40 years old. It's not like I sat on my ass and did nothing. So the things I have, I've earned them. And so some things were given to me. I think even this shirt was given to me as a present. So I'm lucky. My phone is cracked too. You think you're the only one with a cracked phone? I don't even pay service because I can't afford it. And I'm not trying to like measure dicks here, but let's be honest, if you don't do anything in your life to improve it, that's on you. I'm trying every day to improve my life. I'm not trying to be homeless. I'm not trying to play victim at all. Not once in my life am I going to play victim. I'm not going to measure dicks on who's homeless and more homeless. I'm very proud of the work I did. I've worked on movie sets. I've worked on movie sets from the smallest productions to the biggest ones. I worked on Killers of the Flower Moon, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. I met him. I met Robert De Niro. I met Martin Scorsese. You could say, "Oh, you're rich." No, I had the shittiest job. I had the shittiest job, and I didn't get paid much. I could barely get by with what I got paid. But again, I'm not going to sit on my ass and do nothing. That's ridiculous. That's how you get end up homeless, you know? And true, if it wasn't for my parents, who I have a very lovely relationship with, I love my parents, they love me. I have a very lovely symbiotic relationship. I help them, they help me. It goes back and forth. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be financially stable. I would not be financially stable without them. It'd be impossible. But I don't spend money on an apartment. I have this trailer that's paid for. It's a beautiful trailer and it's paid for. I got no bills other than like insurance, and what else? Like I said, my phone bill is it's called I go through wireless assist, and their phones are refurbished. They're refurbished. They're cheaper. Sometimes they're a little wonky. So it took me I had to go back and return 3 phones because they didn't work right, and so you just gotta, be on top of things. You gotta take care of business. I'm not accusing you of someone who doesn't, but I'm just saying, I just don't have the attitude of not helping yourself. You have to help yourself. You have to do something, get out there, you know. And I thought about getting a job. I mean, I've talked about it many times on this channel. Like, I'm not trying to get a crummy job doing restaurant or a termite tech or Walmart. I've had those jobs already. I've done those jobs. And the last job I had was working as a writer. I'm not going back to those types of jobs. I have too much respect for myself. I'm looking for a 50K kind of job, 50K a year kind of job, minimum, you know? And so I'm building up my resume. I'm looking for a good marketing job. I don't have any problem going to work. It's just, does the work hurt my soul, or does it inspire my soul? That's the difference. I don't want to have a job where it just kills my soul. I'm looking for a job that's going to challenge me. If it doesn't challenge me, I could care less about the job. I mean, I was a grocery store clerk for many different companies, and it destroyed my soul because it's redundant work, it's grunt work, and I detest grunt work because I'm too intellectual for that kind of shit. Some people, they have no problem doing it. Good for them. But I find myself in a position where, look, I'm not just any Joe Schmo. Okay, I'm not. I'm a very intelligent person. And I can't just put myself in a place where all I do is stock shelves and bag grocery stores and scan barcodes. You know what I'm saying? Cannot do it. I just cannot do it. It doesn't matter how much you would pay me. You could pay me $100 an hour. I still wouldn't do it because to me, it's not about the money. It's about satisfying my soul. It's never been about the money. Yes, we do need money, right? Cardiac G says, at least get married, dude. You will not regret that in your 60s. Well, no, I agree with you. I've actually been looking for somebody, but every relationship I find myself in, they don't want to get married. They don't want to commit. So I have no other choice than to walk away so that I can find that person. And to be honest, I've actually, to get a little personal here, I've had 3 cancers. I had cancers 3 times in my life. It really set me back in life. And those cancers destroyed my ability to have kids. So a lot of women don't want to be with a man like that unless they truly love you. So The fact that I can't have kids is a big a big deal breaker for a lot of women. The fact that I'm currently, let's see, for 2 years now, I've been doing my own thing, and women don't really respect that unless you're doing really, really well. And to be honest, I'm not looking for a gold digger. I'm looking for somebody who's going to truly love me for me. And we're always and again, I'm a warrior. I'm a fighter. I'm always, if I have a partner who needs things, I'm gonna fight to get those things. But as it were, I don't have a woman who's asking me to do certain things. If she asked me, if I had a woman, she said go get a job. Oh, I would definitely go get a job. Done. That's done. But like I said, I don't have a woman around. I don't, and honestly, for I had one for a minute, but I asked her if she wanted to go to the next level, and she said no. She's not interested. She's got we had a mature talk about the things she wants out of life and the things I want, and they don't match up. So what you do is you say, okay, well, I guess you're just my friend now. We're just friends, and I'll just see you later. No hard feelings. So I'm a free man in a lot of senses. And to be honest, you could say when I'm 60, I may find somebody, I may not. But to be honest, I will never regret my life, even if I end up alone. And I'm not alone. I'm not alone. You know, I don't suffer from loneliness. I don't suffer from depression. I'm too busy. I'm too busy living my life. Like I said, I feel great. When I accomplish things, I feel amazing. When I'm working on things, I feel amazing. So I'll probably do what I do all the way to my death if I'm lucky enough to reach age 60. Because, like I said, I've already had three cancers, and my first one was at age 13. And that really fucked me up. Excuse my French. But I'm a very strong, I've grown, I've matured, to a point of a lot of wisdom. I have a lot of wisdom. And, for some, this may work for you, this may not. For some, you're secular, and that's fine. I'm not going to judge you for that. But I'm actually a person who believes in God and believes in Christ. I follow Christ before everything. And so Christ is my savior, and I will never feel alone because I have Christ on my side. And you can say, "Oh, you're delusional, this and that," but that's what works for me. Yes, I have. I've been very, very fortunate. I highly recommend it because it opens up your mind. I find a lot of Americans that don't travel outside the US, they're very brainwashed. They're very like they think a certain way, especially if you live your whole life like that. Um, I my parents are from Argentina. So even at a young age, like at 5 years old, 9 years old, I was already traveling to Argentina, France, Italy. We lived in France for a year, which was amazing. One of my best memories is living in France. I wish we could have stayed, but we only went because of my dad's job. He had a really good job. He had a really good job. He did the thing where, he wanted to be a father, and my mom wanted to be a mother. They met, and boom, family. I came about, my brothers came about, and we're a very decent family. We're a good family. My parents have been together for 45 years, and that is amazing to me. Amazing because it's getting harder and harder and harder to find, um, that kind of thing. And if you have that kind of thing, you're very, very lucky. You're very lucky, very fortunate in that sense. Maybe not lucky, but fortunate. You're very fortunate because you found somebody that you can love and they can love you back. And to me, you can't buy that. You cannot buy that kind of thing. No amount of money can buy that. I would say money can buy security. And there's one thing that I certainly know about women is they want security if they provide it themselves or a man provides it for them. um, But I'm not into situationships. I'm not into open relationships. I'm not into girls who date multiple men at the same time and and don't tell you about it. Like that's just how it is today. And it's kind of like, man, it just doesn't float my boat. It doesn't. For some men it does. Fine. Good for you. No judgment here. But I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not built that way. You know, I grew up in a family of a household of two people who are married, and they've been together working out their problems for their entire lives. Jimmy says, "Did you find that hat in a dumpster?" Oh man, that cracked me up. No, it's actually a hat. It's really old, and it's been sat on. It's been people have stepped on it and stuff by accident. I got to clean it up, but it's a hat actually from my old theater days when I was acting on stage and doing all kinds of stuff on stage. It's actually from the wardrobe department, and I borrowed it for a film. And the wardrobe department, the theater department, the school shut it down. They shut down like the theater, everything, because they didn't have enough for the budget because they put into sports, of course, sports. Again, nothing wrong with sports, but when it comes to people like me, we were shit out of luck. And so I got left with this hat, and this hat's from, I want to say, like early 2000s. It's a very old hat. And so I've had it forever. I don't always wear it, but every now and then I find it. It's hanging somewhere, and I just put it on because I don't know. It's a part of my life experience as a theater actor. I've had it forever. I've used it in my short films. And I've just always had it. I had other actors wear it for my films and stuff. So it's got a long history. Um, did I find it in a dumpster? No, it's just really old, and I've had it forever, like 20 years, over or like two decades. I've had this hat. Um, I do have a nice hat that I bought in when I was in Italy. It's an authentic made hat from Venice. It's really nice. I don't wear it because it's so nice. I only wear it to like special occasions, things like that. But day to day stuff, like I said, I don't always wear this hat. You know, at least I'm not bald. But I just it's like a part of my personality. Kind of like Rocky had his hat. Jimmy says, if you ever get a role as a hobo, it would be perfect. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Actors get paid a lot of money, by the way. If I did get a role as a hobo, I would gladly do it because I'd be getting paid $1,000 a day, 1,000 plus a day. So I appreciate that, my friend. I hope I do get a job as a hobo. Um, but yeah, some of my fondest memories is working on film sets, acting in movies. Not a lot of acting because those are really hard jobs to get. The competition is fierce, and you have to have like the right look. The director just has to like magically fall in love with you, and it's a very hard thing to do. I've been an extra in a lot of movies. When you're an extra, you get paid something like close to $200 a day. So not a bad gig. Not a bad gig. I was a production assistant for 5 years. You get paid about the same amount per day. And you're on your feet all day from 3 in the morning till midnight. You're working your butt off. So I had some really good. Those are like some of my best memories working on movie sets. I've been to acting schools for TV and film. I've had training in screenwriting, all sorts of stuff. And I got my acting reel that I've done. But I get a lot of people telling me, people like who are directors. They're like, "You're such a good actor. We need to put you in movies," and it never happens. I never hear back for them. I never like get a job as an actor. I don't know if I'm cursed. I don't want to believe that, but um, it's just one of those things, you know. Robin Williams played a hobo. He's one of the greats, you know. He was a multimillionaire. This year, I was on stage acting, and it was great to go back on stage, and it's a real testament to my how intellectual I am. I can memorize lines. I can memorize where I need to be, timing, cues, all that stuff. It's a lot of work, you know. Not a lot of people can do that. It's a lot of work, and not a lot of people can do that. So, one of these days, I know I'll get it. I'll get a deal. I know I will. Um, and I put in the work too. I've auditioned for so many things, and I just don't get it. I came this close for a commercial for State Farm. This close, and it kind of got fumbled up at the last one. Uh, I don't want to blame anyone. I mean, I blame myself for not being prepared, but the um, the studio, the actor's studio I was at, they were having technical issues with the computer and the what do you call it? The where it was they were using what do you call it? When you do video chats, or whatever. I was with the director and casting director, and we were having technical issues, and like it just messed up my audition completely. So I kind of I don't want to point fingers and blame. At the end of the day, I'll just say that you know I could have gone in earlier to make sure that was working properly, but I just assumed they had it all together. They didn't, and it fumbled up my audition. And I missed out on a commercial like this. I made it to the final audition, and I missed it like by this. That would have been huge. That would have been huge for my career. But you can't. I don't have grudges. I don't hold grudges against people. At the end of the day, things happen for a reason. Sometimes we don't know what that reason is until much later in life. So it just is what it is. I would prefer you to play some games you will feel good. I mean, I already feel good. I don't know. I do play video games, not a lot though. I don't play a lot of it. I think this year I played a video game for like a month on my downtime. But I don't play a lot of video games. I'm a busy man. I'm busy doing things. So there's not a lot of time for playing games. And I do love video games. Believe me, I grew up playing video games. I played, Grand Theft Auto is one of my favorite video games of all time. And I agree. When I was depressed and down in my luck after a pretty big breakup, all I did was play video games. It did make me feel better. So, but I'm at a time in my life where video games is not my escape, and I don't need that as an escape. I know a lot of people use it. A lot of people use drugs to escape. They use alcohol. I don't do that. My escape is just diving into my passions, creating, working on things. That's my escape. And wouldn't even call it an escape because it's productive. But I mean, whatever. I love reading books. This year, I read 21 books. I'm about to read my 22nd book in December. I'm a big reader. I love reading. Um, I love finding out new things and discovering new things, and just increasing my worldview. You know, um, I increase not just my worldview, but sometimes it's like self help books, and it helps you understand yourself even better. To improve yourself. And I'm all about that. I'm all about that. I've read plenty of self help books, shadow work books, all kinds. Adulting even. I've read adulting because sometimes you got to take a good look at yourself in the mirror and say, what are my weaknesses? What are my weaknesses and how can I improve? But I'm grateful. I'm grateful because I have a bed, I have a roof, I have food on my plate. I don't go hungry necessarily. Like right now, like I don't have all the food in the world to stuff my face. It's very limiting to what I can eat, you know. So the other day I had a frozen. It comes frozen, one of those frozen meals, and I had one of those, and then some yogurt, and that's all I had yesterday. You know, there's not food. The fridge isn't piled up with food, but I am grateful that I have food. You know, that I'm able to get some food. I haven't watched Human Centipede. I've seen parts of it in clips online or in somewhere, and it is pretty freaking crazy. It is a very crazy movie for sure. Yeah, that's an insane one. That's a great horror original, kind of original idea, huh? Um, but yeah, that movie is so messed up, incredibly messed up. Yeah, there was. I haven't watched it all, but I've seen lots of clips from it, you know, and it's pretty disturbing. Um, yeah, if you want to watch a disturbing movie, watch that movie for sure. But you know, it seems entertaining. It seems horrifying, and that's what movies do, right? They're supposed to, especially in that genre, they're supposed to horrify you. They're supposed to, you know, freak you out. They're supposed to, you know, give you the ugh, you know. I had somebody use that analogy for YouTube actually. Somebody said that there's a lot of people out there on YouTube that you know say a lot of lies, and then the next YouTuber supports that lie, and the next YouTuber supports that lie, and so it's like there's a human centipede effect going on where people are like in each other's buttholes, uh, supporting each other's lies on YouTube. It is crazy to see. It is crazy to see how many people lie and grift on YouTube for money. You know, that's the problem. When you put money as your prime objective, you start to lose your ethics. Like if you're one, I mean, not entirely, but if you're one of those people that's all you care about is making insane amount of money, you start to lose. Not everybody, but some people will lose their ethics. They will lie. They will hurt others. You know, they will put themselves first above other people, you know, and you just lose your ethics, you know. It's not about telling the truth anymore. It's about making money. And I'm just not that kind of person. I'm always going to be somebody seeking actual objective truth, not BS, you know, hot air, not, you know, things that aren't backed by evidence, you know. And there's a lot of that online, you know, and we all know who the queen is of BS. Do I have to say it? I may have to say it. Candace Owens is the queen of BS. She is the queen of BS. She's a horrible person, in my opinion. Horrible, horrible person. The way she's painted targets on people who had not who are innocent and now have to live their lives getting death threats. I mean, because of her, like that in my mind is just sick. How sick and twisted of a child do you have to be? Pretty. I'm not going to say insane. She's not insane. She knows very well what she's doing. She just doesn't care. You know, she doesn't care about other people, and you can see it. You can see it with the way she acts, the way she talks. And I've been watching. I have had my eye on Candace for a while because it's like because it's like watching a train wreck. You know, she has so much BS come out of her mouth that in a lot of sense she is, you know, she is a human centipede. You know, there's so much crap that comes out of her mouth or goes into her mouth and comes out of it. It is disgusting to see. It is truly disgusting to see a human being act this way, you know, but it doesn't surprise me. You know, people are sinners. People don't have, not all people have good ethics in life. Like I said, they're willing to do anything. They're willing to do anything for the spotlight, for the fame, for the money, you know, to be number one on podcasts, whatever. They're willing to do anything and say anything. And I'm just not that kind of person. You know, I've always been, you know, someone who searches truth. I've always been humble. And when I'm out of line, I call myself out. If somebody calls me out, then I go, okay, you know what? I got to look at myself and go, you're right, I'm out of line. So, and I apologize. I'm someone who apologizes. I'm someone who forgives. I'm not going to hold a grudge. That's just not good vibes. It's not good vibes to hate other people and say shit about other people. Unless they truly deserve it. If you're saying it from a point of view of they did injustice to me, they did some horrible stuff to me, they bullied me, then yes, they deserve to be talked about and criticized. But truly though, if they've never done anything to you and you just talk shit about them, like that to me is so unethical. It's just so evil. But that's me. Everyone's different, including Ben Shapiro. Um, I mean, I don't know. Ben Shapiro seems to be on point with a lot of things. He tells the truth. He doesn't seem like a guy who tells lies. He seems very smart. Typically, it's the smart ones, the really smart ones, who are on point with the truth. And the fact is, you may not believe him. May not believe the truth he's got to say. That doesn't make him a liar. It just makes you a person who doesn't believe in the truth. It's just that simple. Sorry if I offended anybody, but the matter of fact is, a lot of people live in delusions, and when they hear something that's truthful and opposite to their delusion, they go, "Oh, he's full of shit." When in reality, we're the ones who are full of shit. You know. But I'm not going to say everything he says is correct. I don't know. I don't watch him 24/7. I don't know if he said something that was incorrect. He may have. I don't know. I'm not his overseer. I don't know. I'm not his spokesperson. I barely watch. I probably watched 3, 4 episodes in one year, and from those episodes alone, he seemed to be on point with a lot of things. Um, so I don't know. Am I a Biden supporter? No, no, dear God, no. I don't know what that was. I don't know. I don't have evidence or proof that they stole the election, but dear God, whatever that was insanity. That was just insanity. Never in the US history has anything like that as long as I've been living, has happened like that. To me, that was just craziness. That should have never happened. Someone his age, someone who's just so far gone, probably super corrupt, you know. Oh God, that was a big mistake. A big mistake. Um, you know, the what is it? The machine that does his signatures for him. That should be illegal. That shouldn't exist. Um, but everybody thinks they're right, and that's the thing. you know. But truly, though, not everybody is correct. But everybody feels in their heart that they are. So that's a scary thing. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. And you can be completely ignorant of the evil you're doing. Completely ignorant, or you're aware of it and you just don't care, which makes you a lot more evil. Of a person, more corrupt, because money, especially a lot of it. And our politicians are rich. They're very rich. Our politicians are millionaires, okay? Multi-millionaires. We're talking from people who have a small amount of millions to people who have 40 million to 100 million, 400 million, okay? Our politicians are very, very, very rich. And it begs the question, the most philosophical question is, money corrupts, and power, absolute power, corrupts absolutely. And so when you're in a position of with money and this and that, and I think decisions start to become unclear. It becomes very fuzzy for people to make decisions that are best for people. you know they're just thinking about themselves. And besides the point, if you're a politician, if you're a congressman or a senator, it's your job to serve the people, not to serve your pockets, And I find that like it's just incredible to me how much these people stay in Congress. They stay for a lifetime. Okay, we don't cycle in new people. They hold on to their power. They hold on to themselves filling their pockets, And who knows what deals they're making that are horrible for the people but really good for their pocket. You know what I'm saying? It is unfathomable. I don't have proof, but you know, the fact that they have so much money in the first place is a strong signal of like come on, let it go. Let it go. Let somebody else. Let a farmer who's in touch with the people, in touch with reality, let him be a senator for a while. Let somebody new, you know, be in Congress. So it's always the same people. And it's just like, man, like they gotta switch them out. You got like kind of like presidents, we switch out every 4 years. Maybe there should be a term limits to senators and congressmen and whatnot. I mean, they're in there for a lifetime, a lifetime. Doing what exactly? You know, if things don't improve and they're there for a lifetime, that should tell you that should be enough proof there. You know, yeah, politicians are corrupt. It's just a fact of life throughout history. Always, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Um, we've seen it throughout history how corrupt people can get with money. Their decisions are not based on putting people first, but their own pockets. I've said that already. But anyways, um, we've talked about a lot of stuff, and I appreciate it. I really appreciate you commenting and talking with me. I always get a kick out of it. I like meeting new people from around the world. But again, I'm just excited. I'm excited because I get to go and shoot the last sequence, the last scenes of this music video, and then I'm going to edit it, put it out there for the world to see, and then we'll see what happens. We'll see if it does well, which I think it will. I think it will do well. Anyways, you don't have to agree with me. That's fine. You know, I'm not going to hold it against you. I hope you don't hold it against me. But I'm always going to tell you my truth, the truth that I find and feel in my heart. But like I said, you don't have to agree with me. That's fine. I don't mean to offend you because I know it does sometimes to hear the truth. It's very offensive. I'm not saying the truth. I'm just saying my truth. And like I said, a lot of people hold their truths differently. Everybody has a different version of what truth is. Um, but I have always been pretty much always correct on the things that I nail, that I look at and nail down and just like discover. I've always been on point. I've never been disproven, and a lot of people have. Even things like videos. Like I've had arguments with people who truly believe that that guy attacked that guy first, but then we find a video clip of the other guy attacking the other guy first, and it shatters their world. Because I'm very good at being thorough when I investigate something. I am very good at that, and that's a true thing that Scorpios have. We're very good. You cannot lie to a Scorpio. You cannot do it. You just can't. You can't do it. You cannot lie to a Scorpio. Eventually, we sniff out the lie. You know, and so it's almost like a superpower that I have. I can sniff it out. You're lying to me, I will get a good sense. I can feel the vibe. I know. I just, like Candace says, I don't know, but I know now. But she's way off. She's an idiot. She's an idiot. All the things she leaves out, all the facts she leaves out. She's the same kind of person I always run into. They conclude the answer they want first, and then they build their case around it. That's not how that works. You don't say, "Oh, this is what I think it is," and then build your case around it. No, you look at the evidence, and then from the evidence, you conclude what it is, not the other way around. And so I find most people like Candace Owens, they already made up their conclusion about something and they try to find evidence to support it. That's not how you find the truth. The truth is you don't make a conclusion, you're open minded, you take in the evidence, and then that evidence comes to an objective truth. And it may shatter your reality, but you cannot be scared of that. You can't just make a conclusion in your mind and then try to build a case around it. That's not how it works. You take in the evidence, and that evidence actually adds up to a truth. And it's just not, some people are just too stubborn, they're too prideful. They don't want to be wrong. It's just one of those things that, like, I've never ever seen Candace apologize for being wrong. Never has she ever apologized, you know. And so some people are like that. Some people are just so prideful. They just will not apologize for being wrong, you know. So I don't know. I don't know. I was born in November 16th. I'm a true Scorpio, to a T, because I've looked into that stuff and it surprises me. It surprises me how to a T it is. Like, it's just on point with my personality, everything. And so I looked at the evidence. I didn't already have my mind made up about that stuff. I looked into it and I was shocked and surprised by the evidence that supports that this stuff is very real. The zodiac signs is a very real thing. The way people track planetary movement as a calendar is what they can do is pretty amazing. It's a science in itself. And if you ask any secular scientists, they say it's all bullshit. But I don't think they've actually looked into it, to be honest. But I've looked into it, and it's self evident that it's something real. And for people who believe in God, and people say, "Oh, that's devil's work or whatever," that's the dumbest thing I heard. Because if God created the world and created the stars and the planets, then why would that be the devil's work? It doesn't make any sense. So, there's something really beautiful about the stars. There's something really beautiful about the story they tell, if you're looking for it. But I find most people are too close-minded to even look at these things. They've already made up their minds. Again, people make up their minds, or they make them for them, and they say it's ridiculous. Don't look into this. When people say it's ridiculous, don't look into this. That's me going, I'm going to look into it. you know, I'm not going to let somebody tell me what I can't look at. And I'll make up my own mind if it's ridiculous or not. And so that's just part of my personality of being a Scorpio, a true Scorpio. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that, and wish you the best out there. Really enjoyed speaking with all of you, and thanks for the comments. Even though if some of them were a bit snarky, I don't mind. I could take a joke. Not like some people who can't take a joke. They get pissed off, they get mad, and to me, it's hilarious. Okay. 9:33 p.m. I'm very ignorant. Bhutan? Bhutan. Is that where you're at? Is that in Russia? I'm gonna assume. I don't know. I'm ignorant to geography sometimes. But that's you have a good evening then, sir. And hope you had a good dinner. Hope you have a good evening. And who knows? Maybe we'll cross paths again. Who knows? But good point. Good point. But there are some of you from before. Um, Even if they're not here, I will still say I enjoyed all of them. Good point, my friend. Good point. You do crack me up, sir. You do. You do. You're kind of funny. Ah, okay. Very good. Thank you for educating me. Bhutan is a country, dude. Very good. I did not know that. See, you learn things every day. You never know who you'll come across. Everybody has something to teach you. Very cool. Very cool. I have to do a little studying. I gotta go study um, that country. I gotta go look at what is it? The Lada? Is that what it's called? The Lada. I gotta go Google these things. You know. So thanks for stopping by. Am I saying that right? How do you say your name? Car? Is it just? Is it? I mean, I'm probably butchering it. Kartiki? Kartiki? Kartiki G? I'm sorry if I butchered it. I'm sorry. I apologize. Like I said, there's things I'm ignorant about. But yeah, thanks, man, for stopping by and just chit chatting. I appreciate it. I'll leave it at that. Car TK, Car TK, like that. Car TK. That's a cool name, man. I've never heard a name like that. Is that your actual name or is that like a YouTube name? But either way, you know, it's been fun. It's been fun. Whoa, buddy, that's pretty intense. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Do you play war games by chance? Are you a gamer of wars, if you will? I like to play this game called Conflict of Nations. It's basically World War III domination, and I always either win or come in second place, or third or fourth. There's a lot of people. You can use money, actual money, to buy stuff in the game, and I find that a lot of people. Well, that's very interesting. That's pretty cool. I was named after my nickname is Lasso, but I was named my real name is after it's named after a general in Argentina. He's a very well known general. Um, you play War Thunder and Red Dead Redemption too. That's a fun game. I've actually watched some YouTubes on that. Looks like a pretty fun game. You should try your hand at Conflict of Nations. It may not be your cup of tea, but it's a lot like Risk, but it's more a lot more complicated than Risk. Uh, you know, um, it's a very fun game if you're into games like that, where it's like you take over land. And since you're named after a pagan god and it means god of war, maybe you should look into that because I truly believe our names bring us in a lot of ways bring forth our personality forward. You know, in an interesting way. Even in movies, people are very particular about what they name their characters. Um, but yeah, I was named after a general in Argentina, and I came this close to joining the military, but I decided not to because at the end of the day, I can't actually kill anyone. I would never kill a human being. I don't care if it's maybe in some sort of defense, but even in some sort of defense, I would try not to kill the other person. It's more about subduing them. I, I don't have it in me. I can't. I'm you know I'm a conscious objector to killing. So it's not in me to kill somebody else. In a video game, I have no problem. I will destroy you, um, or I will get destroyed. But either way, I can't do it in real life. I just can't do it. I can't do it. Just can't do it. Interesting. My favorite movie is Josie, the Tiger and the Fish. I've actually never heard of that movie. That's pretty cool. Thanks for introducing that title to me. I have to look it up. Is it a foreign film or uh, yeah? What one film that a series of films, a trilogy that I recently watched, two trilogies. One was French and one was Mongolian film. Really loved them. The French movies, it's more of an action thing. A must watch, you say? Okay, okay. I wish I had a pen because I want to look it up. I want to look up everything you've been telling me. I gotta keep a pen around, but I'll try to remember. I've got a pretty decent memory. Um, You'll see the tiger and the fish. Okay. You know, it's a fun one I watched recently. It's called The Wrath of Becky. It may not be your cup of tea, and it's not like a movie that will enlighten you or anything. It's not like movie that's incredible, but it's a very entertaining movie. So if you ever get a chance, look up the movie The Wrath of Becky. It's pretty fun. It's entertaining. Um, it's different. I've recently watched Brick on Netflix. That one's pretty interesting too. Um, whoa, interesting. Okay, so it's like a heartfelt type of movie. Is it sad? Does it end well? Is it a sad one, or would you say it ends well? Is it a sad ending or a man? I'm a crier. I will watch movies that are like really heartfelt, and I will cry a little bit. I will be honest about that. Movies, I take movies pretty seriously. I'm a filmmaker guy, so I allow myself to get sucked into the characters and the story and whatnot. And some movies teach you something. I'll check it out. Josie, the Tiger and the Fish. The Tiger and the Fish. No, but the French trilogy that I watched, I think it's called Bullet. Um, and then the other trilogy I watched that was a Mongolian film is Eep Man, IP Man. Very interesting. It's actually about the teacher of Bruce Lee, but they don't really go into that very much. They just go into the man's life, and he had an incredible life. He survived a big war. He opened up a school, and just very, very interesting movies. I recommend them. There are three different endings, and oh, that's pretty interesting. That makes the movie even more interesting, huh? And three different remakes. That's pretty interesting, actually. Thanks for filling me in on that. I've been trying to watch more interesting, different movies outside of Hollywood. Hollywood is so blah. You know, um, but those movies that are they can go deep. I like those kinds of movies. That's the kind of movies I want to make. They can go deep. Well, my friends, if there's anything else, or I should say, my friend, I guess you might be the only one watching. If you have, I guess I'll just leave it at that. I hope you have a great evening. It was a pleasure speaking with you from around the world. Thank you for educating me on on a few things. And very good. Yes, I agree with you. It is a legendary movie. I agree with you. It's very legendary. Um, I was just talking about that the other day, actually. Um, this guy told me that his mom or somebody, I don't know if it was a grandparent, went on a date with Clark Gable. Clark, is that how you say Gable? So I thought that was interesting. But yes, you're correct. That's a very legendary movie. 100%. 100%. Well, I guess I'm gonna get ready for my day. It's got to be like 9:30 a.m. here or 10 or something. So I'm gonna get ready for my day. Like I said, it was a pleasure speaking with you. I hope to cross paths with you again sometime. Clark Gable. Okay. Okay. So I thought. Cool. Um, if you want to know, and I'm not going to pressure you in, I'm just going to mention it. I did write this book. It's a book I just recently published on Amazon. It's about basically my life and the lives of like 14 other people who work in the film industry here as an independent artist. It's called Dialogues, Oklahoma Independent Cinema. If you're curious, if you're just curious and want to read something, but I'm not going to pressure you or say, you should buy it. But if you feel like it, if you feel like it, I've been on a journey to like make it in the film industry, but I'm not going to sell my soul for it. I'm not. If I stay as an independent filmmaker, then so be it, because I like independent movies more than Hollywood movies. Very good, very good. I can appreciate that. Very good man. Um, I'll just show you one more time so you know what it looks like. Dialogues, Oklahoma Independent Cinema. And where it is, it's like a collection of interviews I did. I was very inspired by this French director who interviewed Hitchcock, and there's even a book out there called Directors, and it's a bunch of interviews with a bunch of well-known directors, and I was really inspired by that. So I kind of wanted to write my own version of that, of my world as an independent filmmaker. And I don't know if you were around when I said this, but when I reach 1,000 uh, subscribers, I'm going to release my independent film for free on YouTube. It's called Stray Kids. There's even a trailer on my channel. I worked on it for 15 years, and I'm very proud of the work I did. It's not the best movie in the world, it's got its issues. It was made with a zero budget, but I tried very hard on it and did my best on it with whatever tools I had available to me. So if you stick around, maybe you'll get a chance to watch it, and you can tell me if you like it or if you don't. You can tell me what's wrong with it, because as a filmmaker, I want to hear these things. I want to be able to improve my craft, and I'm getting older. I'll be 40 next year, and as time ticks on, it gets harder and harder to make movies. Um, you know, uh, but you know, dialogues, Oklahoma Independence. Yeah, filmmakers, actors, and the future of it. Yep, that's the one. Yes, sir. Cool. I appreciate that. I really do. So I hope you stick around. I hope you we can have some more conversation. I don't know what we talk about, but maybe talk about movies and things like that. Talk about your country, um, you know, and whatever, who knows. But it's good to cross paths with you from across the pond. And like I said, I better go get ready. I got that shoot today, and I'm excited. I'll probably post some pictures or a short about my day today shooting this thing. It's the last scene of the video, the last shoot. So, got to get to it. Got to get ready. Okay. I'll leave it there because I've already said my goodbyes so many times. I keep doing this too. I don't know. It's like a habit. So yeah, you have a good evening, sir. And I appreciate you very much for hanging out with me. Um, anyways, yeah. Good night, my friend. Good night. I'll leave it at that.